In the modern era, smartphones are our inseparable companions, with both adults and children seeking entertainment and stress relief in the virtual world. Our deep reliance on electronics has given rise to the problem of gaming addiction. Some countries have addressed gaming addiction with drastic measures, such as legally restricting the time minors can spend online. But in Taoyuan City, one group is taking a novel approach. It simply gives children other things to do with their time. This organization, called Kids Love Taiwan, shows children how to have fun outdoors. Its approach to gaming addiction puts the focus on dialogue and self-discipline rather than firm restrictions. Today in our Sunday Special Report, we drop in on some kids who are learning to balance electronics with everything else the world has to offer.
This old house in the middle of a Taoyuan field was left unused for years. Then, in 2017, a civic organization called Kids Love Taiwan converted it into a learning space for families.
我们先静下来好吗？因为这个环境会有回忆。我们各自在家里过来，然后在这边一起共创这个环境。
Each of us came here from our homes to work together to build this learning environment. It's like I was just saying about the mountains, sea, and fields. We go up into the mountains, we go outdoors, we go to the seaside. In this natural environment, we and the children create a learning process together.
In contrast to standard education in Taiwan, the learning that takes place here does not make use of textbooks or exams. Here, nature is the classroom, and children and adults learn together. The children are free to run about, to drink sweet beverages, and to use inline roller skates. They can even play on tablets and cell phones.
我起床通常是安排1个小时在玩平板。
Normally, after I get up in the morning, I put aside an hour to play on the tablet and play some of the games I like. In the past, I would sometimes play too much, playing until I had a headache. My mom would talk it over with me and say, "You played so long on the tablet yesterday. Was that long enough? Did you play too much or not enough?"
我们很着重在孩子的发展，所以孩子什么时候有什么样的变化。
We place great emphasis on the development of the child. When they go through changes at different periods of their life, they need someone there to keep an eye on them. This includes taking note of what they're playing when they use the internet and what these games mean to the child.
相对来讲，我们是有比较高度的自由。
Relatively speaking, there is a high degree of freedom here, but it's not completely laissez-faire. Behind that freedom are discussions that we have with the children. We tell them they can decide for themselves what they want to do, but at the same time, they need to accept some responsibility for those decisions.
The physical and mental health of children is an issue of global concern. In recent years, much attention has been paid to how children's health is affected by the addictive nature of online games. What exactly is it that makes online games so alluring?
网络游戏是一个设计出来的快乐，游戏跟现实。
Online games are designed to elicit a sense of happiness. What makes the game environment different from the real world is that in a short amount of time, the player can achieve a sense of satisfaction.
所有网络游戏企业仅可在周五、周六、周日和法定节假日，每天20点到21点向未成年人提供1小时服务，其他的时间。
Over the years, online game addiction has emerged as a problem the world over. To crack down on the addiction, China has limited the amount of time that minors can spend on games. In New York, a petition started by parents calls for prohibiting smartphone ownership by children under 14. Is such legislation a necessary evil, or does it rob children of a source of entertainment?
3C 不是
Electronics are not the devil. If you control the child's use of electronics or cut it off entirely, the child will increasingly distance themselves from you.
Other countries that have used legislation to curtail online gaming include Vietnam, Japan, South Korea, and Thailand. In South Korea and Thailand, authorities found limited success with this approach and have already repealed the legislation.
当你今天用一个权威去压小孩，他要不就是顺从你。
When you use authority to suppress a child, they will either listen to you or they will avoid you and get caught up in the wrong crowd. In schools, we most often see the latter result. A child in the classroom may appear to obey the teacher, but we really don't know what they are thinking. I feel that this is the most worrisome thing.
Through trial and error, many countries have learned that restricting a child through legislation is ineffective. But how much online gaming is too much? When should it be considered an addiction?
我们大部分会用3个原则来看啊。第一个原则就是说停不下来。
For the most part, we look at 3 factors. First, whether a person is unable to stop the behavior. Second, whether they prioritize the behavior over work and other responsibilities. Third, if the person encounters difficulties or challenges associated with the behavior, whether they are able to change it. From a medical perspective, we generally require the behavior to continue for at least a year before we consider it to be a significant problem.
Whether it's a hobby or an addiction, immersion in online activity may reflect a deeper problem a child has. The iceberg beneath the surface may be something more worthy of a parent's attention, experts say.
很多孩子他的网络游戏的成瘾，其实最重要的是现实生活中的问题。
For a lot of kids who get addicted to online gaming, what is most important is their real-world problems. It's possible that a child who is addicted to online gaming is struggling with depression, and the internet is their only channel for releasing their stress. If you restrict their internet use, then suddenly they have no avenue for stress release. What will they likely do then? A lot of people in that situation end up harming themselves.
So how can parents prevent internet use from becoming the child's only form of stress relief? Along Xidong Road in New Taipei's Sanxia district, this large open stretch of green is home to a family learning space. Kids Love Taiwan moved into the space earlier this year.
来，我先问一下哦，你们昨天晚上有准备今天要上课的东西的举手。
我不知道今天要上课。
有没有？没有纸跟笔的，把手机拿出来，也可以用手机记录。
Today's class is about time management, and the goal is to teach children how to control the time they spend on electronics every day.
第二个
学习。
学习是什么？
是什么？我不知道你要挑战是什么。我们的自主学习课里面有一个重点。
There's an important purpose behind our self-guided lessons, which is that we want students to learn how to manage their own time. You can't really expect children to learn self-discipline on their own. Where does self-discipline come from? It has to be cultivated.
A canopy fashioned from discarded ad banners held up by bamboo. Seats made from wood panels laid across plastic crates. This is the classroom where the children learn. Parents bring their children here to get close to nature. The families get inspired by what they see around them and discover new excitement in the everyday. Children here don't feel bored and they don't feel drawn to electronics.
我们在这个地方做建设，在搭竹子那个地方。
We built something over there where the bamboo is. Today it looks like this. Last night there was heavy rain and some of the support beams snapped and the canopy collapsed. These kids see something different every day. For them, the information they're exposed to here is far richer than the lights and sounds emitted by electronic devices.
像我们现在在这个三峡的这个基地。
At our learning space here in Sanxia, you'll notice that the kids aren't carrying cell phones. There's stuff for them to do everywhere here, stuff for them to play with.
Not only is there lots to do, but parents and children learn together, and the children slowly learn the concept of self-discipline.
规范跟自律这件事情是需要学习的。
Rules and self-discipline are things that have to be learned. They need to be learned through experience. You don't naturally acquire such abilities when you reach a set age.
我们在很多课程上的协助，或者平常生活的协助。
We provide a lot of assistance in our classes and in their daily lives to help parents slow down the pace of their children's learning at home. By slowing down the pace of learning, children can accumulate new information bit by bit.
The parents who come here want to build a learning environment that best suits their children. In their relationships with their children, they prioritize discussion over setting limits.
小孩他们其实就是活在这个3C 的年代。
Kids today live in an electronic age. I think parents should take a look at themselves because they also use electronics quite a lot. If you use these electronics a lot and then tell kids they can't do the same, that's really inconsistent. You're saying, I can do this, but you can't. And I can't give you a good reason why, except that you're a child.
这位同学，我们现在是中1班的，你是中2班的。
我来旁听的。
哦，所以我其实是比较偏向于不要用禁止的方式。
I prefer not to prohibit things. This way, issues like internet and cell phone use can be up for discussion. The question is, how can we help children become self-disciplined? To help them use these tools to learn, but also not be limited by them.
然后竹节虫怎么在地板里了？你知道吗？
躲下去，你要把它拿出来。
For children at this learning space, the use of electronics is about finding balance and self-discipline rather than being fettered by the rules.